Good morning, students. Today's our science class in class 9, and we have to take chapter number 7, diversity in living organism. So, living organisms are those organisms which have respiration, digestion, it takes nutrition, excretion, locomotion. So, organisms which have these properties are known as living organisms. You know that in this world or universe, there are many kinds of organisms are there. So the millions of organisms and millions of species are there. So we have to take our study in easy and proper manner. We have to need classification. So diversity means differentiation in living organisms. There are large varieties of flora and fauna, or plants and animals are there in world. So we don't study of all living organisms individually. So in such a manner, we have to classify them into on the basis of their characters and properties. So we have differentiated living organisms in two groups, plants and animals, and we have studied these organisms on the basis of their characteristics. So such type of study in which we study the living organism on their classification, so it is known as diversity in organism or diversity in life. So first of all, why do you need classification? Our first question arises, why do we need classification? So answer of this question is, classification is need because our study in easy manner. Our study is going on easy manner, so that's why we have to need classification of organisms or living beings. If we do not have any classification, then our study of organism is so difficult, because there are millions of species of organisms or million of genera are present in nature. So we don't have study individually any organism or any individual. So classification is most necessary thing to make our study in easy way. So our topic is diversity in living organisms. First one is, what is the basis of classification? The basis of classification is the characteristic features of organism. Same characteristic features organisms are in a same group, and different characteristic features of organism have in another group. So main feature of classification or main basis of classification is their characteristics or characters. In another way, we have to classify organisms with the base of their structure, with the base of their mode of nutrition, or on the basis of their cell structure and its body structure. And another way to classify the organism is in the basis of structure of, say, it is unicellular or multicellular. or it is prokaryote or eukaryote. So these are the some bases of classification. First of all, the main basis of classification are based on their habitat, and Greek thinker Aristotle classified animal according to their habitat. Habitat means where living organisms are grow, or their birthplace, or they perform their all the activities, living activities. So habitat is the place where the living organism live their process. So such type of classification is based on their habitat. Based on habitat, animal classified in three groups. First one, they are lived in water, are known as aquatic animals such as fishes. Another animals which lived in earth. And third one, the animal or birds which they can live in air. So on the basis of their habitat, organisms classified into three groups: lived in water, lived in land, and lived in air. So this is a very simple way to looking at life. But we need to decide which characteristics to be used as the basis of making the broadest division. So second main thing of classification is the characteristics, features of a particular organism. So characteristics, feature of the organism is the next basis of the classification. Next thing is characteristics used for a hierarchical classification. First one is eukaryotic cell and prokaryotic cell. Some organisms which have well-developed cell is known as eukaryotes. It has a proper plasma membrane, nuclear membrane, proper cell organelles covered with membranes, and nucleus having genetic material, and it has nucleolus and nuclear membrane are also there. So such type of organism which have eukaryotic as a cell, so is known as eukaryotic animals. And someone animal has prokaryotic cell, so they are known as prokaryotes. Prokaryotic cell means primitive cell. It does not have well-maintained cell. Well-developed nucleus are not present in this type of cells. So such type of cell is known as prokaryotic cell, and animals are known as prokaryotes. So this is the second basis of the classification of organisms, prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Now, say some animals or organisms are single cell structure, and some organisms have multicellular structure. So another basis of classification is the single cell or multicellular organism. So this is the second base. If organism has a single cell, it means all the living activities of organism perform in only a one cell. So such type of animal are known as single celled animal, such as amoeba, paramecium, euglena, volvox, etc. Another type of organism which have multicellular structure, and their work to organize the work to different organs, and such type of organism which have multicellular structure, such as frog or cat, rat. So these type of organisms which have multicellular structure or multicellular body. So another basis of classification is that do organisms produce their own food? So on the basis of the mode of nutrition, the organisms are of following type: autotrophic organism and heterotrophic organism. Autotrophic organism means that prepare their own food with the help of photosynthesis. So such type of organisms are the example of autotrophs. Green plants are in the category of autotrophs. Another type of classification of organisms is heterotroph. Heterotroph means they could not prepare their own food. They depend the food on another organism. So such type of organisms are the example of heterotroph. All the living organisms except plant is known as example of heterotrophs. Another type of mode of nutrition is parasites. So parasites are those organisms which take their food by the other organism, and it is totally depend on their food to another organism. So such type of organism is the example of parasite. Another type of classification on mode of nutrition is saprophyte. Saprophyte are those organisms which take their food by the dead and decay organic substance. So this is the classification basis on the mode of nutrition. Now another basis of their classification of organism skeletal system. On animal classified on the basis of the vertebral column. Some organisms or some animal which have vertebral column are known as vertebrate, and some organisms which do not have vertebral column is known as invertebrate. So these are the some basis of the classification. Now our next topic is classification and evolution. You know that classification is the most necessary thing. Due to classification, we can study organism in easy and proper manner. And next one is evolution. Evolution means how would change the environmental condition and organism adopt the environmental condition to some way, and these ways they evolute or evolutionary period, and they give new type of species they born or create new type of species due to evolution or changes. These changes take place in the environmental condition. Those organisms which adopt these environmental conditions, they are survive, and those organisms which do not adopt the environmental condition or change in environmental condition, they do not survive for a long time, and they are destined to the end, to the death. So evolution is the most important characteristic feature of the creation of new species. We to take some example. Biodiversity means the diversity of life form. The meaning of biodiversity is the differentiation of life form or different life are possessed in our nature. So it is known as diversity. Now, for example, in our planet, biodiversity are seen. For example, few countries such as Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Mexico, Zaire, Madagascar, Australia, China, India, Indonesia, and Malaysia. In these countries, the difference of pupil are seen easily. So, this differentiation is known as biodiversity. The climatic conditions of these countries are different. The warm and humid tropical region of the earth between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn are rich in diversity of plant and animal life. So due to these environmental conditions, the lot of variety of living organisms are seen take place, and these diversity or differentiation is necessary features for the classification. So our next topic of this chapter is the hereditary of classification groups. What are the order of the classification of the organism is known as hereditary. So we have to study hereditary of the classification. Now you can see that the order of classification of organisms in such a manner. First one is kingdom. The first basis is kingdom, and the last basis of classification is species. Then kingdom further divided into different phylum. And for animal, it is known as phylum, and in plant, it is known as division. So division of phylum is the same thing. In animal, it is known as phylum, but in plant, it is known as division. So in kingdom, further divide into division in plants, and it divide into phylum in animal. The next thing is class. Phyla further divide into several classes, and these classes are divided into order. Order divide into families, and family further divide into genus, and several genus divide into several species. So species is the basis of the classification. We have to classify the organism in such a manner. First one is kingdom, second one is phylum, third one is class, fourth one is order, then fifth one is family, sixth one is genus, and seventh one is species. So this is the hereditary of the classification of organism. Now there are some biologists such as Haeckel in 1894 and Whittaker in 1969 are classify all living organisms. So this classification, Whittaker proposed the 5 kingdom classification system. So according to Whittaker, all living organisms divide into the 5 kingdoms. So it is known as 5 kingdom classification system. Whittaker divide living organisms into 5 kingdoms. First one is Monera. According to Whittaker, there are 5 kingdom classification system. First one is Monera. Second one is Protista. third one is fungi, and fourth one is plantae, and sixth and last one is animalia. So, according to Whitaker, all living organisms are classified into 5 kingdoms. First one is Monera, second one is Protista, third one is fungi, fourth one is plantae, and fifth one is animalia. So the basis of classification of 5 kingdom system, first kingdom is Monera, which have prokaryotic cells or unicellular organism, is in the group of Monera. So organisms do not have a definite nucleus or organelle. So these are the example of prokaryotes. They show multicellular body design. On other hand, they show diversity based on many other characteristics. So such type of organism, the mode of nutrition in these organisms are autotroph. We can discuss autotroph. It means they prepare on their own food or getting it from the environment, or heterotrophic. So this group include bacteria, blue-green algae, and cyanobacteria. So the example of the Monera is bacteria, cyanobacteria, and blue-green algae. Blue-green algae. So these organisms belongs to the group Monera. They have prokaryotic cell. It means the nucleus of the cell does not well grow. They are autotrophs as well as heterotrophs. Autotroph means blue-green algae are they prepare their own food with the help of photosynthesis, and algae are also found in water. So these are the example of the group Monera. Now next group is Protista. In Protista, they are unicellular. It means the body cell structure is one celled and all the activities performed in only one cell. So they are unicellular organism. It means they have only one cell. They have cell as a prokaryotic cell, unicellular eukaryotic cell. It means they have well developed nucleus, and cell organelles are also developed in this type of cell. But this group have only one cell structure, so it is unicellular eukaryotic organism. The locomotory organ are hair-like cilia, flagella are the locomotion, and mode of nutrition is autotrophic and heterotrophic. For example, diatoms and protozoans. So in Protista, protozoans are amoeba, paramecium are the example of such type of organism, Protista. So these are the two classes, Monera and Protista. Next one is fungi. The third group of the 5 kingdom classification is fungi. Fungi word comes from the fungus. These are heterotrophic and eukaryotic organisms. So in fungi, they are well developed cell present are known as eukaryotic cell. It means that they have eukaryon or well developed nucleus in this type of cell. So such type of cell which have well developed nucleus are known as eukaryotic cells. So in fungi, eukaryotic cells are present. They are heterotrophic, and some organisms take their foods from decayed organic matter. So these are also called saprophytes or saprophyte. The example of fungi are yeast and mold and mushroom. So example is yeast, mold and mushroom. So there are the fungi. Now next one is Plantae and last one is Animalia. So Plantae has multicellular eukaryotic cell. All the plants, most of them are autotrophic mode of nutrition. It means they have green pigment, chlorophyll, and with the help of chlorophyll, they make their own food by the process of photosynthesis. So this is the group of Plantae. Now another group is Animalia. In Animalia are all multicellular organisms which have eukaryotic cell wall and mode of nutrition are heterotroph. Some are saprophyte and some are of parasites. So these are the 5 kingdom classification system which was given by Whittaker. So this is the basis of classification in which we have studied in this class, and this is the hereditary order which you can learn, and this is the 5 kingdom classification system which was given by Whittaker. So in the classification or diversity, you know very well the differentiation of plants and animal is known as diversity, and on the basis of diversity we have to study the living organism, and this is to make this study easy we have to classify the organism in various groups or various kingdoms on the basic features of their characteristic features. So our this lecture is over here, and in our next lecture we have to study about the group Plantae and Animalia. So these 3 groups are studied here with the examples. Now in our next lecture we have to study Plantae and Animalia and the kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus and species. So how to classify plants and animals. This is our next topic which we can discuss in our next lecture. So till then, thank you, goodbye and take care of you.